half of Africa's population is under the age of 20. In Europe, the median age is in the mid-40s. In Japan, it's close to 50. Africa has the youngest population on Earth. That single statistic quietly shapes everything: schools, cities, jobs, politics, economic growth, and even global power. But Africa isn't one demographic story. Zoom in on Sub-Saharan Africa, and the picture shifts again. Here, the median age drops into the high teens, roughly 17 to 18 years old. This makes Sub-Saharan Africa the youngest major region on Earth. So when people talk about Africa's youth boom, they're usually talking about Sub-Saharan Africa, where population growth is fastest and age profiles are youngest. So why is Africa so young? It isn't because of one simple reason. It's the result of timing and how quickly change happened over the past century. To understand it, we need to look at how populations evolve. For most of human history, populations followed a similar pattern. Families had many children, but many didn't survive to adulthood. Population growth was slow, and age structure stayed relatively stable. Then things began to change. The first major shift was falling child mortality. Across much of Africa in the mid-20th century, child mortality rates were extremely high. Families often had many children because survival was uncertain. But from the 1950s onward, access to vaccines, antibiotics, clean water, sanitation, and basic healthcare began to expand. Child survival rates increased, often very quickly. Africa didn't suddenly start having more children started surviving. At the same time, fertility rates remained high. In many African countries, women continue to have 4, 5, or even 6 children on average. Europe and East Asia, by contrast, had already begun to see fertility fall sharply. This pattern wasn't unusual. Every region that is now aging once looked like this. The difference wasn't culture or geography, it was timing. This leads to the most important concept in the entire video: demographic momentum. Even when fertility rates begin to fall, population growth doesn't stop immediately. Why? Because there are already huge numbers of young people entering childbearing age. Africa today has hundreds of millions of teenagers and young adults. That momentum keeps populations young and growing for decades. Demographics don't turn on a dime. They turn like a cargo ship, and this is where most predictions go wrong. Africa's young population is not because the continent is undeveloped. It isn't abnormal, and it isn't permanent. It's a stage of demographic transition that every aging society has already passed through. What's important is that Africa is already changing. Fertility rates across Africa, including in Sub-Saharan Africa, have been falling for years. They're just falling from much higher starting points. At the same time, Africa is urbanizing faster than any other major region on Earth. Cities change demographics. Urban living increases the cost of raising children, expands access to education and healthcare, and tends to delay childbirth. Over time, this leads to smaller families. So Africa's age profile will change, but slowly and unevenly. That unevenness matters. Africa is not demographically uniform. Countries like Tunisia or South Africa already have noticeably older age profiles than countries like Niger or Uganda. Some African societies today look more like Latin America demographically than like the world's youngest states. But when you look at the continent as a whole, the direction is clear. Africa will remain the world's youngest major region for decades to come. Now, zoom out to the future. According to widely used UN projection scenarios, global population growth is expected to slow and level off by the end of the century. The world population may stabilize at just over 10 billion people. Africa, however, is projected to continue growing. By 2100, Africa's population could reach close to 4 billion people. That would mean roughly 1 in 3 people on Earth lives in Africa, and most of that growth is expected to come from Sub-Saharan Africa, which is already the youngest region today. These are projections, not predictions, but across different models, they all point in the same direction. This raises a crucial question. What does a very young population actually mean? The answer is potential and risk. A young population can be a powerful economic advantage. It means a growing workforce, expanding markets, and enormous human capital. History shows that when education, healthcare, and employment expand alongside a youth boom, countries can experience rapid growth. This is sometimes called a demographic dividend, but a youth boom doesn't automatically deliver that outcome. If education systems can't keep up, if healthcare access lags behind, if economies can't create enough jobs, then the same demographic forces constrain cities, increase unemployment, and fuel instability. A young population isn't a guarantee of success, it's a test. This is why investment in health and education matters so much. The future impact of Africa's youth boom depends on whether opportunity grows as fast as population. And this isn't just Africa's story. Africa's youth isn't a snapshot of today. It's a forecast for the rest of the century. As populations age and shrink elsewhere, Africa's young workforce will increasingly shape global labor markets. It will influence migration, trade, climate resilience, innovation, and geopolitics. Africa's demographic future will not stay contained within the continent. It doesn't have a population problem, it has a timing problem, and how that timing is managed through education, health, urban planning, and economic opportunity won't just shape Africa's future, it will help decide what the world looks like by the end of the century. Before you go, I'm giving away a free mapped-out t-shirt. On screen right now is a flag from Africa. The first person to correctly comment which country this flag belongs to wins. Full terms and conditions are in the description. Good luck. Thanks for watching Mapped Out. Subscribe for more geography videos.